Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon here from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I hope you are all having a wonderful week, this kind of strange week between Christmas and New Year's Eve, where it's really hard to keep track of the days. But I did remember that today was Wednesday, so it is my Facebook Live day. And oh, hi, Cindy. And I am super excited to be here and stamping. We've had my parents visiting from Armstrong, which has been so wonderful to see them. It's been a long time, and with the highway shut, we weren't sure it was going to happen. So I've been busy visiting with them, but they have safely made it home, and I am back into my regular routines and getting some time in my stamp room. Now, as tempting as it is, with a brand new catalog only days away, I am not going to be playing with any new product today. I was kind of looking over the retiring list, thinking, oh, okay, what's retiring? What do I want to make sure I grab that I didn't already get? And also, kind of some important ones. What is not retiring, but is carrying over, but won't have bundle pricing? And I had all of the things that are carrying over that won't have bundle pricing. But just so you guys know, um, the um, the deer is not carrying over as a bundle. You'll still be able to get the deer punch and the stamp set, but they won't be bundled anymore. So that's a 10% discount that you can grab right now by ordering that peaceful deer and the punch right now. And two others that are carrying over that will lose their bundle pricing are the Christmas to Remember and Christmas Season. So that's one that I used a lot this year with the pine cones and the gorgeous Christmas sentiment. So I know you're probably not in Christmas mode with those ones, but they are going to carry over into our new catalog, but not have bundle pricing. So if you had them on your list, you're better off to get them before January 3rd and get that discounted pricing. Now, today's stamp set, I'm going to switch over to my desktop and show you what I'm working with. This is all product that is unfortunately retiring. I'm actually very sad to see it retiring. So here we go. And I am not making a Christmas card today. So I know it looks Christmassy. It's the Sweet Little Stockings bundle. For those of you who have been following me for a long time, you'll know that I did a fun collaborative stamp camp back in September with 6 other demonstrators. We created a 14-card tutorial for you and an all-access to a Facebook page with all the videos and everything. And we used this suite of products as well as, oh shoot, I'm going to need them for today's card, as well as the matte decorative dots and this awesome ribbon. So this whole little bundle here together is what we used for our stamp camp. And when you grab the DSP, the ribbon, the decorative dots, the stamp set, and the dies all together, it comes to $101 pre-tax. And just with that purchase alone, gets you the free access to our stamp camp. So for just the next few days, I'm reopening that to anybody who would like to get in on that deal. You can either buy this particular collection of products or any collection of products that equals $101 pre-tax. And that will get you access to our PDF and to our replays of our videos and everything. And if you're not from Canada, unfortunately, I can't do that deal for you, but I do have a link in my description where you can go to just get access to that, and you just pay a flat fee if you're not in Canada. But within Canada, we agreed that we would do it with a purchase. You get it for free. And so this is the collection that you can purchase or anything else that equals 101 pre-tax. But right now, oh, and in the bundle, there are some non-Christmas cards. They are mostly Christmas, but there are some non-Christmas cards. But what I want to show you today is how I'm going to be using this product in the next few days to create some non-Christmas things. So oddly enough, I'm still using this Christmas paper. So I've shown you one side. These are the patterns. And when paired up with the right things, they actually are very non-Christmassy patterns. It's the other side that's, you know, most definitely Christmassy. Although some of these little critters could be cut out and not be seen as Christmassy. These little grumpy cats with antlers, probably not so much. But the little corgi and the kitten and everything can be cut out and used. But mostly it's that pattern size we can put together in a way that makes it non-Christmassy and pair it up with some non-Christmas colors. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to move those papers out of my way, and I'm going to bring in our first piece of paper. So what we're actually going to be using is I have two pieces here, both cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And so that's a standard size to layer onto a card base. And I am using a basic gray card base. So this is going to layer on right like that. And then this piece, I'm actually layering on top of it as well. But before we do that, I'm going to have some fun and cut some holes in it. So we have these fabulous dies called the Picture This dies. Let me grab these. Oh, they're all stuck in it. So it's just 2 die sets in this pack. One is rectangles and one is circles. And when you put them down, they simply cut out the spaces that that are there and leave the whole rest of our border. So I'm actually going to use my circle one today on the designer series paper. I'm going to lay that down. So I don't want to do it like this because then all my circles will be kind of like flat and even and boring. I'm going to kind of twist it a bit so I get like a zigzag pattern of circles coming down my card. And I have to throw this on too. Unfortunately, I'm going to bring the big guy over. This die is just a little bit too big for my baby boss. So here we go. I'm going to bring over the big guy. And put down my DSP. And so this is one of the designer series papers from the Sweet Stockings paper. So although it was intended to be Christmassy, you're going to see today, today's card is definitely not Christmassy. Okay, with that done, I can move that out of the way. Here we go. So now when you pop this out, you're going to have all these fun little circles left over. I'm going to have to find another project using up these circles because they're just darn cute. And then you can also make super Christmassy ones with those light bulbs on the other side. But so we're going to have to create a second project with those. I'll probably do that off air and I'll just post it for you. So with that done, sometimes I like to stamp on this before I glue it together, but the particular kind of stamping I'm doing today doesn't require that. So I'm going to glue this together. You can use any, oh, hi, Julie. You can use any kind of adhesive to do this. I am going to use my liquid glue just because I have a real problem with getting things lined up straight. And so this gives me that freedom to wiggle it around. And so I'm just putting like little dots in between. I don't really need too much. As long as my corners are adhered, the rest will stay in place. There we go. Now, sometimes when I do this, I'll actually adhere it to the cardstock first, then hole punch it, and then use dimensionals. I wouldn't use dimensionals just with the sheet of DSP. I just think it would be a little bit flimsy and you'd end up having a little bit of a saggy look to it. Okay, so there we go. We've got that. So that's all stuck down. Now, the reason I don't need to stamp first is because we're not doing any kind of true peekaboo stuff. We're going to have our little puppy dogs. We're going to use puppy dogs on this one. And we're going to have little puppy dogs popping out of these holes, but I'm actually going to die cut them to get that look. So with that said, I'm going to grab just a scrap piece of paper here. I've got so many scraps over here. There we go. Really odd shaped one. I think I was fussy cutting from this. So I'm going to grab that and my Memento black ink. And with my Memento ink, I'm actually going to stamp. You know what? I'm so partial to this puppy dog, but maybe I'll do a kitten on this one as well. I have sorely neglected the other animals in this stamp set. I am such a dog person. It's crazy. This might actually be only the second time I've used the cat. And yeah, I just can't do it. There is also a cute little hamster. I'm just not a rodent kind of person. Used to be when I was little. We had hamsters, we had rats, but I just can't do it now. Sorry. So we're going to have 2 dogs and a cat on our card. And it should be some pretty good cuteness. Actually, maybe, you know what? I'll switch it up. I actually have some friends who have 2 cats and a dog. So we'll do 2 cats and a dog on this one. They're just not as cute. Sorry. All right. So with those stamped, we get to do a little bit of coloring, and then we'll die cut these using the dies that come with this set. So for those popping on just a little bit later, I know that cat face is pretty cute, Cindy. For those popping on just a little bit later, we are creating with the Sweet Little Stockings stamp set that is retiring in just a few days. And we're making a non-holiday card, though. So if you're like, oh, I'm so done with Christmas cards, don't worry. So am I. All right, so I'm going to pull in some smoky slate blends to color. You can use whatever you want to color, though. And let's see, I think we'll do smoky slate and crumb cake as our colors to color these little guys in. And so the dog I always think looks super cute in crumb cake. So I like to start going over him with the dark crumb cake. And I just kind of do all those spots that they've already made darker, including his muzzle there and his little paws. And then I'll come back through and color and blend it all with the light crumb cake. Now, do be careful not to use too much so it doesn't bleed, and especially when you're working around the eyes, because we want to keep the whites of our dog's eyes white. So as I come in to do this coat of crumb cake around his eyes, I'm just very light touch. And one pass by, that's it. There we go. All right, what a sweet little puppy. Now that's our crumb cake. Now we'll do our kittens. Well, actually, we could maybe have some fun with this because the kittens can have a bit more color. Well, we're definitely going to do one gray kitten because we just are. So we're going to give him some dark little paws. Come up like that. Give him a little definition on the side there. Make his ears maybe a bit darker. There we go. And then we'll fill in the rest of this with our light smoky slate. Again, being really careful around the eyes to do just one light quick pass. There we go. He is pretty cute, I must admit. I might end up making a whole other one that's just kittens. How sweet would that be? All right, so there's one of our kittens. And then I'm actually thinking, I've not tried this, so we may have to stamp a new cat. We'll see. But I'm thinking I might actually grab a little bit of light pumpkin pie, or maybe Calypso Coral would be the better choice. Where is my Calypso Coral? Okay, well, we're not going to use Calypso Coral because it seems to have walked off my desk. We're going to use light pumpkin pie, and we're going to mix it up with, this is what I love about blends, is you can mix colors, not just dark and light. So we're going to come in here. Let's see, that pumpkin pie. That's pretty orange. Okay, well, we'll see. So I'm going to color the whole cat with light pumpkin pie. But don't worry, I understand it's very orange. Too orange. And then we're going to come in with our light crumb cake, and we're going to do an entire coating over top that's just going to mute that orange a bit. and create a really nice color there. All right, that's very, very cute, actually. I like that. Okay, so we've got our 2 kittens and a puppy dog, and we're going to die cut these guys now. So now these guys can run through my baby boss, so we're going to. And I just want to show you that what plates look like when they get worn with time. So these ones have a lot of cut marks in them, and you're going to see that I actually have split this plate finally. So I've used it just to the point of it breaking. So just so that you're aware, you can buy replacement mini cutting plates. They're in the catalog. And you get 2 of them together, so it's the 2 that you need to replace these. So now I'm just going to see, I'm bad with mine. I actually run them not till they've cracked, but until they actually like pop and can't cut anymore. But the plates are a consumable technically, so they do need to be replaced. So just so that you're aware, we do have those replacement pieces in our catalog. All right, so I'm going to grab the 2 little dies. So this is so nice. No fussy cutting here. We've got the dies to cut out all 3 of the critters. So I'm going to have to run this twice, once for the puppy dog and once for the second cat, because I can only cut out 1 cat at a time. All right. So just roll that through. And one more time for our little gray kitten. Oh, come on. I'm going to pop those guys off to the side. Yeah, I must admit, the cats allow a little bit more versatility in color than the dogs do. Although the dogs, you still have quite a range. All right. So here we go, got that. And I love this, that it cuts out our whiskers without any need for fussy cutting. It's just super cute. Okay, there we go. And I'll just save that extra puppy dog for another card. Because trust me, I'm going to be creating with this one some more today. They're just so sweet. And now these guys, we're going to have them popping out of these little holes on our card front, but you can literally have them hanging over the edge of anything. Make a birthday card, put down a stack of gifts and have them hanging over the edge, a little tree or a bush or something, even just a sentiment, put it onto a tag and have him leaning over the edge of the tag. Like, so many possibilities with these guys. And you leave that stocking out and voila, it's no longer really a Christmas card. All right, so these guys are going to get popped on with dimensionals, but we're going to save that for just a moment while we work on adding in our sentiment. So there is a wide variety of sentiments in this set. Most of them are Christmassy, but this sending lots of love is just a great generic one that can be used just as like a thinking of you card, thank you, birthday, like whatever the message is that you want to add into this card, it's going to work with. So that's the one that we're going to use. And now to just really pull ourselves away from Christmas entirely, I have chosen a piece of Flirty Flamingo cardstock to stamp this sentiment on. So if there was any doubt of whether or not this was going to look Christmassy, I think it is gone. So there's our Flirty Flamingo piece. I've got my sentiment and some Versamark. We're going to stamp this in Versamark. So for those of you who have never heat embossed, this is one of my favorite things to do. It just, I don't know, it makes every card look great. So we're inking this up with Versamark, which is essentially a clear ink that does not dry quickly. So when I stamp this sentiment, this ink is going to remain like almost sticky. Then I'm going to bring in my white embossing powder. We sell our embossing powders in 2 packs. One's a metallic and one is a basics that has like black, white oh, what's in there? Black, white, and something else. I can't remember. Oh, I don't know why my brain is losing that. I'll have to look it up for you guys. Sorry. All right, and then our metallics, which is obviously like silver, gold, bronze, that kind of thing. Okay, so now that I've dipped that into the powder, tapped off the excess, actually, I'm just going to give this one more dip. It didn't quite cover that one word. Okay, you kind of look at it, make sure it's covering all of your words the way you want it to. And then, sorry if this gets a little bit loud, I'm going to bring in my heat tool, and we just heat this up until it melts. So here we go. All right. So, oh, thank you, Cindy. Right, it's the clear. I knew I was forgetting one. I'm like, but what other color? We don't have it in like crumb cake. So yes, clear. Awesome. So there you have it. We've got that all embossed in white now. I'm going to trim the end, and this is something you've seen me do a lot. I'm using my tailored tag punch, and just popping in there and snipping that off. So there we go. You can use snips to do that. We even actually have a banner punch. It's a pick your banner punch that you can use for that. But I'm just so accustomed to using the tailored tags. All right. Oh, good morning, Lila. Oh, I know. Aren't they adorable? Okay, so there is our sentiment for our card. Now, before I attach this, I am going to put it right there with some dimensionals. I'm going to put my dimensionals on the back of this, but then I'm just going to set it to the side and do a little bit of stamping on this card before we start attaching anything. But now this sentiment can have the dimensionals on the back, and while I've got them out, I'm also going to throw them onto the back of all these little cuties. So just flip them over, and one will do. Just one right in the center of each will do. Okie dokie. So we've got all those little guys. Now we've got to do some stamping on here, and I'm going to bring in some real red, which may seem like a little bit of an odd choice, being that we've just used Fleur de Flamingo, the pink, but this red really does work. And so inside just the 3 smaller circles, I am going to stamp these little stars. Now this one I'm going to stamp up quite high because my sentiment's going to cover up most of that circle. And then this one, I'll stamp it a little bit lower. There we go. All right. So that is all we're doing for that stamping. Put that off to the side. And now this can get glued directly down to our card base. And it's nice and easy to glue. You could even use like a tape runner for this, but of course I'm not going to risk trying to get this lined up straight. I want my liquid glue so I can wiggle it. So there we go. I'm going to put that right onto our card front. And while I've got that liquid glue out, because we're using a basic gray card, I'm also going to grab an extra piece of basic white and glue that to the inside of our card so we have a nice writing space. Now, if you wanted to, you could even stamp a little critter on this. I just might do that actually, and decorate up the inside. But at the very least, add this white paper to the inside of your card so that you have a nice surface to write on. It just makes the card look a bit more finished, and with a darker card, it just makes it easier to write something nice. All right. So now we can start adding some of our other bits. So the first thing we want to add is our sentiment, just to make sure that it doesn't cover up any of our critters. Now I'm going to put it down here so that it's covering up a good chunk of that circle. There we go. All right, and then our little critters can go into their empty windows. Okay, so they just sit there right down at the bottoms and hang over the edges. Now this little guy did put in a little bit to the right, so his ear also really hangs over the edge, not just his paws. And this little guy is going to go up and centered, and he's going to hang off of our sentiment. There we go. All right. So they're super easy to pop on with those dimensionals. Now we're just going to add a few more little bits of bling to this card. I'm going to start by adding in some stars. So within this pack, we have like little holly bits and gifts and little branches, but we also have this star. And so I'm going to grab this star and a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock. Ugh, that's a mouthful. And my baby boss. We're going to cut out 3 of these. So we're going to use them almost like they were like rhinestones or something. So this is Bermuda Bay that I'm using. I love how it pops with the pool party and the flirty flamingo. Okay, so roll that through. Now, unfortunately, sometimes they give us multiples of these smaller dies. In this set, they only gave us 1. So I'm going to have to roll this through another time. Now, I thought I had pre-cut. Oh, I do have one other pre-cut one. I had more than that pre-cut, but I bumped my table this morning, and they're all over the floor and like disappeared. So went underneath shelves and just really vanished when I hit the floor. So that's okay. All right, and there's our third one. So I'm going to put that die right back into the case so I don't lose it because it is so tiny. And we can move this out of our way so that we can finish putting our card together. Okay. So we'll bring in our card again. And now these little guys, I am going to attach them with, you can use either liquid glue or mini glue dots. So I find mini glue dots are nice and easy to use because you can literally take that star to the glue dot, like right on the roll. Oops. Pop it down over top of that glue dot, peel it off, and attach it to the page. Now I am attaching these so that they go into the circle just a little bit. Oh, hi, Gail. We're just working with the Sweet Stockings stamp set that's retiring soon, and I'm making a non-Christmas card with it. Now, if you get that glue dot so that it's visible, you can just use a tool or use your finger and push it back out of the way so that it's not visible. There we go, and we'll add one more star to this card. Oops. And if you want a little bit more dimension with these, you can actually roll the mini glue dots, and then you will get a little bit of dimension, not as much as if you had used a dimensional, but a little bit of pop there. All right, so those are on. Now I've got 2 more little things that I want to do. Good morning, Nancy. 2 more little things that I want to do here just to add some interest to this card. I'm going to grab those matte decorative dots, and we're going to add just a little dash of them across our card. Now you'll see that they're ombre, so they're darkest down to lightest. I want to kind of use this in between color scheme and use a large one, a medium one, and then maybe even a small one down here. Well, not where I wanted it. I'll put it all the way over there. All right. There we go. So just a little bit of bling on that card. And then the last thing is I always love a little shine, a little sparkle on a card, and there isn't any on this one. So I'm going to grab my Wink of Stella and just very carefully paint those stars so that they have a little bit of shine to them. So without having to add any sparkly rhinestones, we are able to add just a touch of sparkle to this card. There we go, and one more. Now hopefully you guys can see that sparkle. It's one of those things that doesn't make a huge difference, but it sure adds something to the card. All right, and that is our finished card. So as you can see, it's very non-Christmassy. Which was the goal, is to keep using these stamp sets that we love so much, but in other ways throughout the year. So that is our very not Christmas Sweet Stockings card. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and just a reminder that we do have the last few days of December and the first 3 days of January to get anything off of that last chance list. So do take a quick peek through. Oh, thank you, Val, Gail, Julie, Lila. So yeah, have a quick look through that last chance list. There's a bunch of stuff that's going, a bunch of stuff that's staying, but you'll lose your bundle pricing. And then of course with the Sweet Stockings, sweet minus the felt, or with any $101 order, you'll get access to that Sweet Stocking stamp camp if you didn't already take part in it, and we're kind of wishing you had. So that is about it for today. I hope you guys have a fabulous new year and start 2022 off right. I will be continuing my Wednesday morning Facebook Lives through 2022. And on January 4th, check your inboxes for my newsletter. I have a ton of stuff coming up, you guys. I can't share a ton of details right now, but I do have paper shares coming. Hi, Shannon. I have paper shares coming. I have a stamp camp coming up with the same group of ladies who I did my Sweet Stockings with. I think you guys are going to love it. I have some other classes that I'm going to be offering. So if you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, go to my link tree and subscribe. And if you are, then watch for that. It should be coming out on January 4th, unless I can manage to sneak it out before. But I really want to have the link to the catalog in there for you guys, which I'm not allowed to share until January 4th. Hopefully those of you who are receiving catalogs from me have received your physical copies now. If you haven't, give me a shout and we'll figure out what's going on and how to get one to you as quickly as possible. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in 2022.